Hello, everybody. This is Gary Kay, and you are watching a special video edition of my Rants and Raves podcast. I'm excited to be joined today by Paul Harris, who's the CEO of Aurora, obviously. Paul, how are you?
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for joining us. We're excited about ISE. I know you are as well. We're both heading to Amsterdam in a couple of weeks. And one of the interesting things about Aurora, and by the way, Aurora is in Hall 5, stand S100. And of course, you can of course check them out online as well, which we'll get to in just a second. But one thing that's different about Aurora than most other companies that are in the signal routing distribution world today is that in addition to the legacy analog and digital switching and distribution products, you have also SDVoE and HDBaseT. And a lot of companies that are in the SDVoE space don't have HDBaseT and SDVoE. So one's network, one's point-to-point distribution through CATX cable. Talk about why you have both and which one you like better.
Well, that's an interesting question. I like them both. So I'm a very big fan of AV over IP. We've been leading the way with our transceiver technology. We were one of the first people to do SDVoE's technology over 3 years ago when we first introduced the IPX series. And we're a firm believer that AV over IP is the long-term future of the industry, especially for distribution. 10 gig is really going to lead the way ultimately. The 1 gig, hands down, is going to lead the way in digital signage, low-cost installs. It has its place, and it's a great technology. But for the higher end, the higher bandwidth, especially the 4K 6444, have to do that in 10K. There's no room in the 1 gig market for that. For the HDBaseT, it's also had the same limitations down to the 4K 6420 or the 4K 30444. But with what we're going to be introducing today is we've supercharged HDBaseT, and we've now brought it into that 4K 6444 space using similar technology as the SDVoE for the compression part of it, but doing this more for a very cost-effective point-to-point solution with unshielded cable. And yeah, you heard me, unshielded on that one for HDBaseT with the full bandwidth.
So I see a logo behind you that keeps coming up saying Supercharged.
Yep.
Is that your branding? Is that the HDBaseT? Is this something that just you're doing, or is this going to be available to the other Alliance members?
Well, I can't say what other people are going to do with the various technologies. Right now, some people are playing with different types of compression technologies. We're using something that's really not available to the masses yet. So we've been lucky enough to have access to a technology that's brand new. And the nice thing about this technology is it doesn't have any limitations right now, where I can do not only the 4K ultra high def, but I can do the 4K cinema, not do any tricks like color space conversion, and deliver a true lossless real-time compression with no memory usage. So the penalty is only 100 microseconds with this technology. So it's as real-time as you're going to get while delivering very full quality image. So you can put a test pattern in it, it'll look perfect.
Yeah, and so what you're saying is for point-to-point distribution, you're still a fan of HDBaseT or your version, the supercharged version, but for networking, you like the SDVoE because it's 10 gig.
Well, I like it because when you go through a network switch, you're dealing with industry standards and network switches. So you're not bound by one brand. You can scale it, and it's more appealing from a larger scale when you branch out. I'm also a big fan of hybriding the two technologies, where when the cost comes into play, you can still deliver the quality. It's just a matter of utilizing the technologies and what they were meant to be utilized. The issue that typically people see with HDBaseT is once you start going into the multi-point, you have to use proprietary card cages. And that's where the expense starts to come in, whereas the AV over IP starts to drop. But when you're doing point-to-point, because of the cost of the IP boxes, that's where the HDBaseT becomes a much better cost-effective solution, where it could be as much as half the price of an AV over IP. But that kind of goes out the window once you go to the card cages and the matrices.
Yeah, in fact, as you probably know, Netgear's launching a dedicated SDVoE switch that can go up to 96 ports, I think it is, in and out, that they're claiming is $100 a port. If they come down to that price, does that move it in the range of HDBaseT, or are you still a fan of just HDBaseT because of the point-to-point simplicity?
It helps. There's no doubt about it. And actually, I'm proud to say we had some part in that development with that product, because we're the only product in SDVOE that can even do 10 gig PoE. So we announced that.
Yeah, that's right. It is PoE. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Exactly. So 48 of the 96 ports can actually be PoE, and they actually needed a device to actually show off or prove out the capability, I should say, of the PoE on their product. But we're the only people on the entire market that even has a device to test it with. So they reached out to us in order to test it. Last year at ISE, we actually introduced the Huawei switch at the time, which was the world's first 24 and 48 port. Netgear kind of upped it another level. They went to a card cage and allowed you to go from a few ports to 96.
Yeah. So that product that's behind you, the wall plate there, is that wall plate a HDBaseT Supercharged product, or is that you're just using that as an example?
No, actually, this is a supercharged product. It looks a lot like our 1 gig wall plate. So we try to keep all the products looking very similar. We go out of our way to keep the aesthetics looking very strong on it, because if you're going to pay a lot for room, you should have a high-tech looking Decora panel that looks good in the room too. So yeah, this is actually one of these HT series. This is what we call the HTW-2. And with this product, this will do the 4K 60 444 full bandwidth. And it's got 1 VGA, and it has 2 HDMI inputs. So it has 3 inputs in total. It has IR receiving capabilities to control it, button control as well, auto sensing, LAN port, which we can cap it if you don't want to use the LAN. And this is another industry first. The USB is reversible. So a lot of times you'll see a lot of HDBaseT products out there if they do have a USB port. And actually, when it comes to the wall plates, I really don't think anyone else is doing wall plates with USB. I think we're still the only people really doing that right now. Might stand corrected by this ISE, but for the longest time, we were the only people doing it. But one of the problems typically is you have to fix where the computer side will go and where the device side will go.
Yeah.
And with our technology, you could tell the wall plate which direction you want to go, so you don't have any limitation of which side you have to have it on. Is
this HTW-2 already on your website?
It is on our website. It'll start shipping in April. So it is a brand new product. It's going to start shipping officially in April. It might be a little sooner, but right now we're just telling people April. We did other big innovations with this product. So on the back of it, you'll see it's a very low depth product. So it fits in standard floor boxes. And this little thing sticking out over here is an option slot. So one of the other things we did here is we merged some IP technology with it. So this is the world's first product that can also do Dante or AES-67 in an HDBaseT product. So this is where you could separate it out and have it go over the HDBaseT network and then out to the regular network. Okay. So it solves audio problems. We also built in an IP port expander. So normally a lot of people are used to sending 232 or IR from one side of the transmitter receiver to the other side, which eats up ports on the control system. So every single one of our box units or our wall plate units, you can actually give it an IP address and target the RS-232 or the IR as a port expander. So you don't need any ports on your control system. You use these as the port expanders. So that's another, this is why we also call it supercharged. It wasn't just for the fact that we did unshielded 4K 60. It was also the little things that we did that wrap it and bring it more up to date and bridging it, or the beginnings of the bridging with other technologies.
So Aurora is at auroramm.com for multimedia, auroramm.com. Again, Hall 5, stand S100. Paul, are you just going to be focused on that one product? Or are you bringing a line of products, or what are you going to do at this year's show?
No, we're bringing a line of products. By the way, I just want to quickly understand, I believe we're in Hall 3. I got a, Mike, can you check that? I think the booth that you're listing is, we're going to be in 2 booths. Our own booth, which I believe is in Hall 3, and it might be 834, I think. I have to check. 834? Yeah, we're checking it right now. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. I had 500 or 5S100, but is that the SDVOE booth, or am I?
No, actually, that's the HDBaseT booth.
Okay.
So we the HDBaseT for obvious reasons, because we're doing the HDBaseT Supercharged introduction.
Okay.
Our regular booth is actually in one of the main halls up near the front, and they're trying to get our stand number right now.
I'll put it in the description for the podcast so people see it when they watch the podcast. So auroramm.com. I'm sure it's on your website as well, but auroramm.com. Do you got it?
Yeah, it's actually 2A34, by the way. That is the exact number.
Okay, perfect. So Hall 2, stand A34. Paul, thank you very much for joining me. Paul's always been an innovator in the industry, and he's one of those people I can always call and talk to, and he'll tell me the truth about different technologies. I always appreciate that about you, Paul.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Of course, check out Aurora at auroramm.com. At ISE 2018 in about 2 weeks. They'll be in Hall 2, stand A34. Of course, they'll be in the SDVOE booth, and they'll be in the HDBaseT booth because they're supporting both standards. Thanks for your opinions, Paul. Appreciate it. Thanks for the product demo. I appreciate it as well.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching, and have a great day.